Hello YouTube world, it is Liam, the Death Doom Metalhead, and I'm doing another UK death metal special where I show bands all in the UK keeping the death metal scene alive and well, and we're calling it a new wave of British death metal because there's absolutely tons of killer UK death metal bands that people need to hear and check out. So hopefully in this video you will find something you like. I'll leave links below to every single band I mention and anything else that might be interested to you, and you can go and support it. And yeah, let's get on with it. So the first band is a one-man death metal project based out of Liverpool. This is done by a chap called Joe Bradley, and this is a 2021 release through Stump Grinder Records, and that is Trenchfoot with Sacrificial Gore, and this is stellar. If you like your knuckle dragging death metal in the vein of like Mortician, early 6 Feet Under, this is going to be for you. This is absolutely stellar. All done by Joe, so all the drums, I think they're programmed drums, I could be wrong though. Bass, guitar, vocals, he does everything on this, and it's superb. If I can get a death metal album with just simple riffs, no frills, you know, I'm happy. You know, I like my technical death metal, and I like it when it kind of broadens out and horizon, like atmosphere and stuff like that. But this is none of that. It's straight to the point. I'm going to fuck you up death metal, and it's great. I really enjoy it. It's just, you know, if you want to just kind of zone out for a bit, you know, this is the kind of thing you want to put on. You don't have to focus on it. It's just bang your head, and there he is looking all evil in probably his local park. And yeah, spot on, and it's a really cool release. I mean, there's no, I believe he played in Cryptic Shift on the last album. That's quite a technical band, but this is nothing like that. This is more in the vein of just your simple, no nonsense death metal. You know, the riffs are really easy to remember, and it's very catchy. He's got sound bites of women being fucked up by monsters and all sorts of things like that. So yeah, really enjoyed that, and that is something that I think is going to feature quite highly on a lot of people's end of year lists for like EPs and stuff like that, because it is really fun. So that's a really cool one, Trenchfoot. The next one is a London-based band with a bit of mystery behind them. This is not featured on Metal Archives unless they haven't updated it themselves. They're a two-man project formed in 2012. But there could be more musicians involved, I'm not sure. London-based band, I can't pronounce it, but it will pop up down there with the album Exile. This is a 2021 release, self-released, and this is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. No one is speaking about this at all. I heard this through a follower of mine called Sean. He was the one showing this off on his Instagram, and I instantly checked it out, and it was spot on. Really cool band. So this is a death metal band with doomy elements in there. There's some blackened kind of vibes going on. It's very epic, very grand, and the album is a concept album. So the story behind the album, if I can remember, is there's a warrior that washes up ashore, helps these villagers out to destroy another village that's been annoying them. He then goes after another village, they say it's the undead, goes after the undead, and I think it kind of wraps up with him fighting a demon in a tree. He kills himself by setting himself on fire. You know, over the top kind of fantasy stuff, which I love, you know, Tolkien, that kind of thing, I'm all about it. And every song has a story behind it, so if you read in the book, it kind of explains the story as the journey goes on. And yeah, really intriguing album. Quite long, but the music kind of justifies it, because the songs are all different, they all build, and they're very epic. And there he is down there, start of his journey. And yeah, absolutely killer album. Nice digipack, but doesn't really give anything away. It just looks like that. And like I said, the booklet kind of explains each song in depth as a story. So yeah, I will leave a link to their Bandcamp. I don't think there's many of these left. I know you could probably get them from Aesthetic Death Records as well. But other than that, this is a self-release, so I don't know where else you can get it from. But a really cool album. If you haven't checked it out, one that's going to be under a lot of radars, because I don't know anyone who's promoted this apart from Sean, and I don't think the band really promoted that much apart from on their Facebook. So yeah, really cool band. I know they've only done an EP and a split prior to this, but again, very much an underground band, but really worth checking out because that was a really good album. Right, next one is an album I picked up last year, and I'm mentioning it again on my channel because they've just put out an EP this year, but it's only online. So the band is Cult Burial. This is their debut full length from last year, self-titled, self-released as well. And it is incredible. I mean, a private press is not cheap to do for a band. Being in the band, I know that, and you look at it and you kind of get put off thinking, you know, unless people are going to buy it, you know, it's a big gamble. But these guys have done it on CD and vinyl, and last year they reached out to me to say, do you want to check out the album? They sent me a download code. I listened to it, thought it was absolutely stellar, couldn't believe it was just a self-release, so I had to buy the LP straight away to kind of justify the band putting out such good music, because it just felt weird that they weren't putting it through a label. And this is stellar, absolutely stellar. It's really dark, atmospheric death metal, very, very heavy. And when it goes, it's very blasty, then it kind of tones down and can get a bit doomy, a bit melodic. It's superb, really, really heavy, and you know, a band that not a lot of people are talking about, and I have no idea why, because again, it's another band that is absolutely stellar, and I can't believe the label hasn't jumped on this, because it's amazing. The production's spot on, the guitar work is phenomenal, the drums are phenomenal, everything about this band screams bigger label, like a Dark Descent, that kind of thing. So it really shocked me that this is just a self-release. But they have got an EP out this year called Oblivion. The picture should appear above my head, which is on their Bandcamp, so you can go check that out. Hopefully they'll get it pressed so I can add it to my collection, because I'm a collector scum who likes to own things. So yeah, Cult Burial, a really, really cool band, worth your time. Now, kind of break up the music a bit with this video. This is a new top I just got recently. It is a Norwegian death metal band called Filth Digger. Long sleeve, nothing on the back, really thick Gildian shirt. But the reason I'm mentioning it is because there's a Scottish company called Threads for Dead that started out this year with my buddy David McLennan of Coffin Mulch, if you know them, the guitarist from Coffin Mulch. He's doing his own shirt company now, and it is superb. It's based out in Scotland. He's doing limited edition shirts where you have to get on the pre-order, get the pre-order in, he'll print them, you know, they don't cost a lot of money either, really cheap. And the quality is amazing, and I'm not just, you know, saying that for him, you know, he doesn't know I'm doing this for him. But this is superb, and I've really enjoyed wearing this. It's so comfortable, so thick. You know, I'm sweating my tits off the other day. I went to a gig wearing it and I really regret it because I was roasting. So when it gets colder, I'll be wearing this a lot more, but it is quality. And he's doing another one, I think, in the next week or so. And he's only left one clue. It's a Swedish band, a Stockholm band. So I'm really looking forward to that, and no doubt I'll pick it up as well, because for the price you pay for a long sleeve shirt, he's not asking a lot at all, and it's just insane how cheap it is. So I will leave a link to his social media page, and you can go support him and get involved, because you won't want to miss these, because this is now gone, you can't buy this anymore. So it's very limited, but very, very cool. And also, I have another zine to show you. Now, I love my underground death metal zines. You know, in the UK we don't have many. I featured Child Vulture on my last one. This time we're talking about Choppin Headz. This is a London-based, well, I think it's London-based zine. One guy started it last year during lockdown, and it's kind of materialised into, it's now 3 issues now. The third one's only just come out. But he kindly sent me the 2 first issues to check out. And he said, you know, if you wouldn't mind checking them out, and I was happy to do that because I love my underground zines, and if I can promote anything, I will. You know, if it's worth my time, I will check it out, and this is very much worth your time as well. This is superb. So, this is a horror-based death metal, grindcore, and like noise kind of stuff. You know, it's a mixture of things in here that I'm not familiar with. So when I'm reading this is all different and new to me. So I find it exciting, because a lot of bands I go, oh, I already know who they are, I know all that. This, a lot of them, you know, I don't know. And horror films aren't my thing either, I only know a handful. So this really was an enjoyable read. It's written really well as well. You know, his wording and how he says things is spot on. There's a lot of tongue in cheek. And you know, when you hear it in your head, you know, it's really, really good. And another one, you know, just superb what he's doing. I mean, to kick it off, you've got your top 10 movie melts. Horror-themed melting creatures or humans. He's interviewing, you know, drummers, like death metal drummers of certain styles, like grindcore, that kind of thing, which is really cool, because they don't ever get talked about, even though they have phenomenal talent, but they never get talked about because it's too extreme. But he's kind of putting that to the centre. There's reviews of certain horror movies. This is my favourite though, the Bob Rock art exhibition, and he's kind of showcasing underground artists on Instagram. And look at that, that is superb. And he links all the artists on there, so you can go check them out for yourself. So if you're in a band and you want some artwork done, this is a great way of kind of discovering underground artists, because you can then go hit them up to do some work for you. You know, and that's what it's all about, just kind of sharing that knowledge, promoting each other, you know. And he also does like Iron Maiden beer reviews on this issue. This is just the first one. And he reviewed every single one of them and gave his honest opinion. And then some 2020 releases that he was listening to at the time. And then issue 2, you know, a little bit thicker, I think, a bit more going on, more in depth. You know, they've got better and better as I read it. You know, a lot more. I mean, this one goes into like films I can't even remember or even heard of. You know, that was released in 1989. That was the year I was born, so I wouldn't have remembered it. But there's interviews and like certain bands, like I forget that one. Abdominal Filth is a one-man project from Hull. I do know that project. They've yet to release anything though, but you know, he's interviewing them and getting involved. And yeah, it's just absolutely killer stuff. So if you haven't checked it out, I'll obviously leave a link below so you can get involved, because they don't cost a lot of money and you're getting loads for your money there. I mean, he sent me them two there. They arrived within a couple of days, and you know, I've been enjoying them and reading them ever since. You know, they're really good reads, so go check him out because that stuff is killer. Right, moving back to the music. This is another 2021 EP, but this was released through Drycoff Records. This is Visions of Beyond, from Beyond, sorry. One-man project out of Bristol, and this is Death Doom. Yeah, we'll say it's Death Doom. It's very much more on the Doom side than the death metal side, but the death metal is very prevalent. Now, interestingly, that's what the tape looks like. I actually met the guy. This is a one-man project, and I met Ollie Mason at the Celestial Sanctuary gig in London the other day. He introduced himself to me, and I was like, "Oh, I know who you are," because I pre-ordered this as soon as it was announced. So I've had this for a while now, and I was talking to him about it, and his take on death metal. Now, he's a big death metal nerd as well, and he made the journey from Bristol down to London on the bus just to go see some death metal, which is insane. So it's not a pleasant journey, I'd imagine, on bus. But when I said to him what I thought it sounded like influences wise, he's never heard of half the bands I mentioned. So I said stuff like Esoteric, a little bit of Evoking in there, and he's like, I've never listened to them before. And it's really cool that you can hear that from him, because he was dead honest, because he looked completely puzzled when I said these band names. Unless he's really good at acting, he's just playing all cool about it, but I didn't think he was. He's a big bloke as well, he's fucking tall, way taller than me. And yeah, when I was saying to him about how the sound of the band, the sound of the music came across as to me, like the little harmonies and little plinky kind of chord notes he's putting in there. He does all the drumming himself, they're not programmed drums. He recorded it all in his shed, I think. And it is just stellar. It is a really unique EP, like nothing sounds like this year that I've heard anyway. It's very much rough recorded, you know, very underground sounding. The vocals are very muffled, very buried in the mix, very guttural. You've got some blasts in there. It's got that very much that Dark Throne vibe to it, where it sounds very acoustically, you know, it's not over processed or anything like that. It's very natural sounding, and the drums are very warm sounding, you know, not over triggered or nothing like that. And yeah, just like the chords and the notes he's using, they very much reminded me like Evoking, that kind of style. But yeah, he had no idea what I was talking about, so that's a really interesting release. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. I'm fairly sure there's still copies left, and I know it's being repressed. But yeah, really cool dude. So yeah, go check that one out. Next one is a band based out of Leeds. I'm going to take a drink because my throat is dry. Right, yeah, so this is a Leeds-based band formed in 2016, and this is their debut full-length from 2019. And this is another one that was self-released. This is Cadaver Soiree with To Betray the Creator. I just found this randomly on Bandcamp about a week or two ago, and this is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So different again to what I'm showing you today. So this is straight up death metal, but then it changes throughout the album. This is, I believe, they're only full length, that many tracks on it. I think they're on hiatus for a little while, maybe, I'm not sure. But I did see a social media post that they're getting back together and stuff like that to rehearse or something like that, maybe. So it could have been the pandemic which just kept them, you know, apart for a little while. But don't quote me on that. But this sounds to me like very early Cannibal Corpse on certain tracks. Like the album starts off very Cannibal Corpse-esque, very much the Chris Barnes era, very chuggy, the drumming, you know, everything, the riffing is very similar to those very early Cannibal Corpse albums. But then halfway through I found myself like kind of looking confused, because it's got that, it has some keyboard elements in there, and then it starts to sound like early Cradle of Filth. It just dramatically took a U-turn on the Cannibal Corpse style, then went into the kind of early Cradle of Filth style, and then came back again, and it kind of swings between the two. So it swings from brutal, no-nonsense death metal, then it goes into this kind of avant-garde, weird kind of, I don't know how to describe it, because it's all keyboard based on some of the riffs, but it sits on top of the death metal stuff. So to me it sounds like early Cradle of Filth minus the vocals, because the vocals are very guttural. But it was a really interesting album, and I couldn't predict any of it, and it kind of made me intrigued, and I really enjoyed it by the end of it. And I've spun this about 3 times now. Killer artwork as well on the front. But yeah, band again I only recently discovered, out of Leeds, and yeah, really, really cool stuff. So if you never checked them out, I'll leave a link below obviously, and you can go and listen for yourself. But it did come across as Cannibal Corpse and then into Cradle of Filth, so that was really interesting for me. So yeah, Cadaver Soiree. And lastly on my list is a band out of Bradford. This was band formed in 2013 and put out 2 full lengths. This is another self-released album, private press again. This is Valafar with Wolfenkind. This came out, I believe, in 2018. So it's been out a little while, but this never was pressed to vinyl. This was only done in the last year. This was originally released on CD by the band, and they crowdfunded it, pre-orders up, and you know, you could buy it on vinyl, which I did, because this is an absolute stellar album. Cover there kind of gives you a vibe for it. So this isn't like the other bands shown here today as well. This is more in the vein of a Monomarth kind of Viking-esque style death metal, but the UK version of it. So Valafar share a member, so Neil, who's the guitarist in this band, is also at My Dying Bride now, and I believe the vocalist runs Manifest here in the UK, which is a really cool festival, which I'm hopefully going to go to this year, next year even, should I say. And yeah, but like I say, this band sound like, to me, like that Viking kind of style death metal, more early and Monomarth, that vein to it. The riffs are very, very catchy on this. There's not a bad song on this album. Very, very riffy, very catchy. The bass is very audible, you know, very clanky, very loud, very thick. And then the riffs, like I say, they just pummel you. Absolutely pummel you. There's loads of groove in there. And yeah, it's absolutely stellar. But yeah, another private press from another band that I reckon should be signed to a label at least, because this was absolutely killer. So, like I keep saying, go check them out. Check all these bands out. And that is it for this episode of New Wave of British Death Metal. Like I say, there's absolute stellar stuff on show. A lot of it unsigned though, which is really surprising. So if you're a label that watches this, maybe consider putting some of these out on your label, because they are all stellar. So in the meantime, please like and subscribe if you are new to the channel, and like the video anyway to help me out and let YouTube know it's cool. And a big thank you again to everyone that's checked out my videos recently and, you know, subbed the channel. It means a lot to me. And yeah, awesome people. So I will speak to you in the comments. In the meantime, please take care. Cheers.